We begin with a significant update out of Manitoba on a story that shook the province and made headlines around the world. That deadly highway crash last year near Carberry. The RCMP and the Provincial Prosecution Service have just announced there will be no criminal charges in the collision between a semi-trailer truck and a bus carrying senior citizens that killed 17 people.
After countless hours of interviews, precisely examining evidence, generating and analyzing expert reports, and following up on every investigative avenue that we could, we were able to provide a very comprehensive investigative package to the Crown Attorney. I'm here today to say that based on the Crown's review, no charges are being authorized in relation to the collision that occurred.
CBC's Cameron McIntosh is on this story, and he joins us now again live from Winnipeg. So Cam, what else stood out from you from what the police had to say?
Well, Natasha, a horrific accident, but not a criminal act, according to the Crown here in Manitoba and the RCMP. So the explanation that we got today from the RCMP and the Crown is that they looked at this from two different perspectives, from a criminal code perspective, negligence, and from a dangerous driving perspective. And the evidence, the physical evidence at the scene, doesn't point to evidence of either. What they're saying here is this accident, horrific as it was the result of a minibus traveling south across the Trans-Canada Highway in western Manitoba over 4 lanes of traffic, 2 lanes each way. It crossed over the westbound lanes, sat in a median, and attempted to cross over the eastbound lanes when it was struck by a semi. The Crown saying quite specifically that blind spots in the vehicle, in the front of that minibus, likely contributed to the driver not seeing the semi-truck coming on. Therefore, they are not recommending a charge of anything under the criminal code or of dangerous driving, saying that basically momentary inattention or the presence of a blind spot does not constitute dangerous driving. So the RCMP is basically saying, yes, they can explain what happened here, but they still can't explain precisely why it happened. Here's RCMP Superintendent Rob Lawson.
As investigators, we hope to provide the why of what happened, and that is why we do what we do. But in this case, we cannot say why the bus proceeded into the intersection that day when it was unsafe to do so.
Also, a factor here is the fact that they could not interview the driver of that minibus. He did survive the crash, but has sustained traumatic brain injuries, is currently living under assisted living, does not recollect the actual collision itself. So basically, there's no information to get from him there. The Crown saying under those circumstances, they don't see a criminal charge as being in the public interest.
And Cam, there were so many victims and so many families affected. How is the community responding?
So 17 people were killed as a result of this collision. That's 16 families. There was a married couple that was killed in this collision. Reaction will be mixed. The Crown and the police went to Dauphin, Manitoba yesterday to explain this to family members and say they feel that the explanation did satisfy many of them, although many may not like it. As for the community of Dauphin, earlier this month, a memorial was dedicated to the crash victims. And the province earlier this year announced that it will be redesigning that intersection. There have been other fatal accidents at that intersection in western Manitoba. $12 million has been put aside for the redesign of that intersection to prevent a similar accident in the future. But all told, yes, there will be people today that won't be happy that there isn't a charge. Others may just see this as a very tragic and unfortunate accident that now we are finally getting some answers on.
CBC's Cameron McIntosh in Winnipeg. Thank you, Cameron.